First off, it's Charles J. That just in case you ain't heard of me, they told me it was too late. But I promise that I'll be the first to speak. Most of these rappers, they fake. But you can't have your way, this ain't Burkhead. Everybody said it won't be. Till they see smoke, then they realize they'd rather have turkey meat.
What it do is 903 Boxing. I'm your host, Charles J. Okay, man. Want to talk about Michel Rivera versus Frank Martin. Yeah, I'm gonna go on and give an early prediction. I just been, got up this morning doing a little film study. Checking out both fighters. I've been following both of these fighters very, very closely throughout their career anyway. So I already knew a lot about them. I was just looking back at a few fights. But shout out to my audience, man. Shout out to those that's rocking with me. Shout out to those that's feeling some of this sauce. We in the kitchen, man. We cooking and we gonna go and get to the shit. So, man, for one, I respect both fighters for taking this fight. They didn't have to do it. And man, when I tell you this a hell of a matchup, damn, bro, we getting a good fight, and kind of shocked me. Gotta be honest, shit really shocked me. But it's happening, and damn it, man. They say they're having this fight in Minnesota. Is Rivera? Is he a Cuban? I think he's Dominican. Just think that's kind of weird a little bit. I think that's kind of, black fighters, we always got to go with I don't like that. I don't know what's up with Al. That's some shit Al do that I really don't like. I told you, I don't want no more black fighters fighting in Carson, California, or none of that shit. You always matching us in a spot where we gonna get booed and shit. We gonna start booing back, goddamn, with some shit. Throwing hands around this motherfucker, some shit. It's just the disrespect. I don't like that shit. I really don't like that shit. That shit really, really pisses me off. Yeah, the disrespect and the constant biasness in boxing, and the hope for another motherfucker to fail all the time. So yeah, that shit really disgusts me. But Michel Rivera, I've been following you, bro. I want to say he is Dominican. I don't think he's Cuban. I think he's Dominican. But they might have done better having it at Barclays or some shit. But there ain't no disrespect to Minnesota or nothing like. There ain't nothing. I don't know much about Minnesota. All I know is David Morrell fight there, and he's a Cuban, and he got a big fan base out there, and so I figured Minnesota. So anyway, but no disrespect to Minnesota. But I just noticed I don't know no black fighters that got a big support base coming out of Minnesota. I don't know. So that's what I'm saying. So, but shout out to him though. I can't wait to see the fight. Michel Rivera. Let's get to him, man. Great jab. I think he got one of the best jabs in boxing. The straight right. He versatile with his right hand. He throw it in many different ways. The jab is so consistent. He got good legs, long, rangy. Rivera, good fighter, man. Good fighter. I'm finna tell you some crazy shit about Rivera, man. That's why sometimes styles, that shit can make fights. Even though Rivera is a much better fighter than Pitbull Cruz. Yeah, and I don't give, I'm not a Cruz fan because I think that shit is cap. But Cruz would stop a Rivera. And Rivera is the better fighter. It's just that he hold his head up kind of straight at times. And them wild ass punches, that shit will land. So it ain't got nothing to do with ring IQ or none of that shit. Just that wild shit will land on him. Meanwhile, against a Frank Martin, he might stop a Cruz. Yeah, that's kind of the difference. So a lot of times style can make fights. I think Rivera is a much better fighter than Cruz, but when you talk about them overhand shit like that. So back to Rivera, I think he got heart. Definitely think he got heart. But it's some other shit, bro, and that's what I think. I think it's gonna come down to this. For one, Frank Martin. A lot of people don't talk about it. Frank Martin is huge. That motherfucker on fight night, he looked like a welterweight. He ain't that. What he about 5'8"? Don't got a lot of reach. 5'8"? No. Is he 5'8" or 5'7"? I want to I want to say he 5'8". He 5'8". Don't got a lot of reach, but man, Frank Martin got one of them. He remind me of the Charlos when it come to his conditioning and just build, just straight ripped through and through. You can tell he conditioned real hard. He and another thing I noticed about Frank Martin, and this is what makes this fight so dangerous, in my opinion, for Rivera, is that I know Rivera is highly skilled, very skilled. I think he's very skilled. I don't think that shit is cap. But Frank Martin has showed me some shit in these fights. And like I said, Rivera got hard. He'll get up and beat your ass. He'll get up. He's not a quitter. But Frank Martin is what he's shown me in these last few fights is that Frank Martin got different gears. And he got that shit, man. He got some of that shit, them throwback, them fighters. He got that shit where he'll look like he gassing out, and then you'll see him go in the corner, and Derrick James say some shit in his ear, and he come back, and he look like he in the first round, and he just rejuvenate. He got that kind of shit. That shit Spence got. He got that, yeah, and he gets stronger as the fight go. He got that shit. And another thing about Frank Martin is strategic aggressiveness. That shit is very strategic. He's not careless with his aggressiveness. The straight left is very accurate. That motherfucker is accurate. And his body work, and he gonna go to the body. That's another thing I see. The body work, he's gonna go straight to his body. He gonna go to his body more than his top. He gonna wear the body down. I think Rivera will land some good straight rights. I think the jab will be a problem. I think it's gonna take a few about 2 to 3 rounds to get past that jab. But people don't talk about this. Frank Martin, that right hook, the straight left, he throw it more. That right hook will stop anybody at 135. The right hook of Frank Martin will stop anybody at 135. A lot of people don't talk about his power. Frank Martin, in my opinion, is the second hardest puncher at 135 behind Tank. I think Frank Martin is the second hardest puncher at 135. I see him throwing them straight lefts to the body, them hooks to the body. I see him. And another thing about Frank Martin we don't talk about, he reminds me of Spence, but he's more athletic. Gotta be on. Frank Martin is he's very athletic. I think Frank Martin and Devin, my guy. Frank Martin more athletic than Devin. Frank Martin is very athletic, and when I mean it, it's his turns with his footwork, and he's a southpaw. That shit is tricky. Yeah, he'll be in front of you, and then he'll be behind. The way his angles and shit, how he turn you a lot, and that shit is very. And what's dangerous, he can turn you, and next thing you know, you being hit with a straight left that's so flush that you don't see coming, and it can be lights out for you. So, Frank Martin dangerous, bro. I'm gonna tell you another thing. So let me just say what I think. Rivera, man, you're a good fighter, bro. I think you got heart. You gonna fight at your all. This fight will be a stoppage. It will be guaranteed. Frank gonna stop him. I'm gonna tell you, Frank is a seek and destroy fighter, but he's strategic. I got Frank. Frank better than what we think, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna tell you, Frank gonna stop him. And it may be inside 6 rounds. Or it could be late stoppage, but it's going to be a stoppage. He's going to wear Michel. Michel Rivera may get dropped 3 or 4 times, and he got the heart. He going to keep getting up, and the corner might stop it. Them shots going to hurt, bro. That shit going to hurt, and he going to wear him down. And that right hook, I see him landing it. I see him landing from that southpaw stance. Yep. And he going to land a straight left, but that right hook and them straight lefts to the body, his arsenal is too much. Michel Rivera throw 1 and 2s at a time. Frank Martin throw combinations. So I got Frank by stoppage in devastating fashion. This will be it's gonna get ugly. That corner gonna have to stop it, or the ref, it's gonna get bad. It's gonna get real bad. It's gonna be competitive first couple round, and Rivera's a good fight. Frank too strong, bro. He's strong. And at this point, I think he's the strongest fighter at 135. I think he's stronger than all of them. He's stronger. He's more athletic than any fighter at 135, including Devin and Shakur. He's more athletic. And like I said, he got the behind Tank. He hit the hardest. He's a knockout artist. So a lot of people don't talk about that. That's why I say, I ain't gonna lie, Dev my guy, but he in the fight of his life against a Frank. And I'd have to make a video about my prediction on that fight. That's a tough fight. That's a tough fight for Dev. I'm gonna tell you stylistically the best style matchup. I ain't gonna say the best. I'm not gonna say the best. I'm gonna say one of the most underrated style matchups, because Dev versus Tank is the fight that I want at one. That's one of the fights that I want to see the most in boxing. But one of the most underrated style matchups is Tank versus Frank. I'm gonna tell you something. You got Southpaw versus Southpaw. And boy, you talking about puncher versus puncher, athleticism, because Tank is athletic. That's a hell of a style matchup, and I think a lot of people underrate Frank Martin and the power, bro. Yeah, that's a hell of a style matchup. That I don't know if it'll ever happen, but yeah, that's a good style matchup. Frank will he will show the world that night, and this ain't even this just I just see it in him, bro. Frank. Another thing about him, like I said, it's what I see in him. He's a dog, bro. He's a dog, and he's not gonna let you off the hook. Frank going for the stoppage. He's going for the stoppage against anybody. He in there to stop you, bro. Frank don't want to outbox, even though he got skills. He's going for the stoppage, and he's not gonna stop until they stop that fight. I'm telling you, so that night, I'm telling you, y'all gonna see that Frank Martin is way more dangerous than we ever gave him credit for. So this is 903 Boxing. I am your host, Charles J. With that, I'm out.